Welcome to the podcast.
Yes. It's time to slap the best man.
Slap the best man.
Okay. So this is Here Comes the Podcast, the show where two wedding professionals discuss wedding movies. I'm Cameron Grimsley with Longview Productions.
And I'm Sarah LeRae Creek Gillum. I'll answer to anything from Sarah LeRae Photography.
And today we're talking about I Love You Man.
Yes. One of my all-time faves.
It's infinitely quotable.
Oh, so quotable.
I call people Jobin on a regular basis.
Yes, same. Josh is like, what's one of this movie is a part of our love story, my husband and I's love story, because he quoted, I think he said, "See you later, Jobin," and I knew I was in love with him. Oh my God. It sounds like a duck is farting.
That is Sarah's phone doing something.
Okay, it was a random robocall.
All right, should we start over or just keep it in?
I don't know.
Okay, I think we keep it in.
Keep it in. It's
Okay.
real life. This is about real life.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm
Sometimes
yelling.
phones go off, guys.
Yeah,
It
and
happens.
they sound like you're farting. At least it wasn't in my pocket.
Yeah, that would be weird.
Anyway.
So he quoted "I love you, man." And that
Yes.
was...
Oh, sorry. Distraction. Yes, he quoted "I love you, man." He said, I think he said Jobin, and I was like, I'm in love with you. There were a few times that he quoted something, and then I was just like, oh my God, I'm in love with him, 1,000%. So that's part of it. But it's totally, I feel like not a lot of people have watched this movie, have seen this movie.
That is a shame.
It is a shame, but I don't
We
feel
should
like,
fix that.
I don't know how.
Hopefully this podcast will help. We will proselytize to the world that this is one of the best and funniest movies.
It really is. I mean, Paul Rudd. Which, speaking of Paul Rudd, I loved Dinner with the Schmucks. Wasn't he in that?
Dinner with
With
Schmucks.
Steve
It was
Carell?
Steve Carell, and yes.
And
I
that
think he was in
movie
that.
gets dragged all the time. And I thought that movie was hysterical.
I thought it was okay.
See?
I've seen it once.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought it was funny.
But that's the thing about comedies too, is they are so. It's an objective thing. If it makes you laugh, then it makes you laugh. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Anyway, I love anything that Paul Rudd. Did Judd Apatow, did he direct this one?
No, it was okay. All the pre-info. It was released in
Excuse you, sir.
It was released March 20th, 2009. Directed by John Hamburg. Written by Larry Levin and John Hamburg, and stars Paul Rudd, Jason Segel, and Rashida Jones.
I
So
love
John
Rashida
Hamburg.
Jones.
Let's see. He directed Why Him in 2016. It was James Franco and Bryan Cranston.
I'm surprised on that. I like James Franco.
Along Came Polly, which is a funny movie.
Oh, that's a good one. Isn't that with Jennifer Aniston?
Yeah, Jennifer Aniston and Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman is hilarious in that.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
That needs to be a thing. Anytime somebody's dead, R.I.P.
But okay, so the IMDb synopsis: friendless Peter Clavin goes on a series of mandates to find a best man for his wedding, but when his instant bond with his new BFF puts a strain on his relationship with his fiancée, can the trio learn to live happily ever after?
Yes. Just ruin the movie. Yes.
Yes.
They can.
Which, this is a slippery slope of a thing, because both of the, Jason Segel's character and Paul Rudd's character could come across as, serial killers if not handled deftly.
That's a movie reference. You can, okay, we need to put a disclaimer in all these podcasts. You cannot watch this podcast if you have not seen the movie.
I don't think it will work as well. That's for sure.
Yeah, because you won't get some of the minor things. Like
Yeah.
Totes My Goats is in there.
They just on the menge.
It's just so. I wonder how much of that was like improv.
I'm guessing a lot of it.
I would think so.
Because it is interesting you asked if Judd Apatow directed it, because he sort of pioneered that style.
Just let the actors.
Yeah. And there's a lot of that in there. And Jason Segel and Paul Rudd both have worked with him a lot before. So I think I don't think he was a producer on it, but he might have been. Yeah.
It's a good one. And I feel like, though, I don't know, there's parts of the movies that I feel like is kind of, like, it's borderline weird. And, like, I thought, like, the first time I watched the movie, I thought, oh, that's funny. And then the second time I watched it, I was like, I feel like the couple in the movie have, like, a codependency issue. Like, how does he not have any friends?
They sort of, I mean, they justify it, but barely. Because they talk about he moved around a lot as a kid, so never had any, like, lasting connections from childhood friends.
Oh, and I just remember Adam Sandberg.
Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg.
This cast is amazing.
Yeah, it's a great
J.K.
cast.
Simmons as the dad, Andy Samberg's the brother, Jane Curtin as the mom.
And Andy Samberg's, like, super gay, but, like, the most masculine gay you can be. It's fantastic.
And likes to convert straight guys because he likes a challenge.
Yeah. It's great. It's just great. So I've always had the thought about, like, why does he not have any friends? Like, the premise of the movie is a little strange. Like, you know.
Yeah.
Coming straight out the gate. That he just doesn't have any friends and he needs then he, like, pseudo dates.
But see, even, like, because he does have hobbies. It's not like he doesn't have a life outside of his relationship. Because he does have the fencing, which is an interesting choice of a hobby for him because it is an isolated sport. Like, it's a one-on-one thing. You have a mask on, even. Like, you're separated from people in that. So.
That's interesting. He's an interesting character. But what's his name? What's the character's? I'm so bad about, like, characters' names. I'm like, oh, you know, that guy. The main guy.
Which character?
Paul Rudd's character.
Peter Clavin.
How do I forget that?
I don't know.
You're like, there's no excuse for that.
I wrote it down. That's how I remembered it.
Peter Clavin.
Especially Clavin. It's such a weird name.
That is Have you ever wondered how they come up with people's names in movies?
It's like when I've written stuff before, it's one of the hardest things is trying to come up with names.
Just come up with the name, like, because it's such.
Sometimes I was like, when phone books were a thing, just look at the phone book.
Yeah, true. Because I mean, it's such a significant part of a person, but it's also a very arbitrary thing. Like, your name could be anything, and it could be significant or not significant. Interesting.
This movie also continues our trend of characters with weird jobs.
Yes. Which
I think we need to look out for. These are jobs that only exist in the movies.
Yeah.
Of being Lou Ferrigno's real estate agent.
And by the way, I've, like, had the thought, like, my mom and I actually, like, so, like, when the two characters meet, you know, it's at, like, an open house or whatever.
Yes.
And I'm like, my mom and I have done that. Like, not even.
You just crashed an open house.
Just, like, we're not trying to buy a house, but we just, like, want to see what the inside of that house looks like. And, like, we don't even live in, like, a super, like, swanky. But I would imagine that would be a legit hobby if I lived somewhere like LA. Yeah. Like, do they even have open houses for houses that crazy big or expensive?
I would imagine they'd have to have some sort of screening process.
Yeah, you can't just like have an open house for a $3 million home of a famous person. Like,
it is a very funny bit though that Lou Ferrigno has like paintings and statues of himself all over his house.
How random is that too? Like, who like thought like, oh, you know who we should get? Lou Ferrigno.
They probably had a list of like people on his fame level,
celebrities.
And like the first one to say yes. Just
I mean, and like, how would you feel about that if you were Lou Ferrigno? Like,
but he could hold his own. Like the scene where he beats up Sydney. Like, he is funny in the movie.
Yeah, he is funny. Everything. I love that his name is Sydney too, by the way, because that's just perfect name for him. Honestly,
Yes.
like it's kind of weird, and he's kind of effeminate, but to me, a little bit, which I feel like Sydney is like a gender neutral name. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think maybe he seems that way because he's so emotional.
He's, I think, honest, and like he just lays everything out.
He
on
definitely,
the line.
everything is laid out on the table. Like he has a jerk off station, and that's just what he refers to it as.
In his man cave. And he likes to, have sex with divorcees that he meets at open houses. That's what I also, while watching this movie, I was like, this would be a perfect double feature with Fight Club. Because he is a little bit of like, Paul Rudd is Edward Norton and he's Brad Pitt. There's a little bit of that going on where he's like the cooler guy.
I guess so, yeah.
Where the scene where I really thought about it was where he takes Peter under the boardwalk to get him to yell and like let out his frustration.
Oh yeah.
I was like, that's a little bit that scene where in their parking lot and it's like, just hit me. It is borderline that scene.
I feel like he feels like he's a character, like in the beginning you think he's this guy that just like has his life figured out and he has it all together and he just owns everything. But then as the character develops, you figure out that he's not. Like he isn't.
The layers get peeled back and you realize like, oh, he's like, because there's that scene where they go on that hike and then afterwards all the other friends are like peeling off and have their own lives. Mm-hmm. And Paul Rudd feels sorry for him because he's just going to be alone.
Because he can't find somebody to put up with his weirdness. He is strange. But he lays it, like you said, he lays it out all on the table.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part?
Is the whole movie a good answer? I was trying to like narrow it down. Like I really don't know.
I really like the part where he's he's trying to leave him a message on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Like all of that. Like anytime Paul Rudd gets flustered in this movie, it comes out with some sort of like nonsense.
Anytime Paul Rudd tries to do an accent.
Yeah. And slapping the best. Slapping the best, man. That is...
The, was it the engagement dinner with the toast?
Oh, God, that's so cringy. I can barely watch that scene. It's so cringy. Like, I have legit fast-forwarded through it because it makes me cringe.
To me, the part that makes that scene, though, is Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
His reaction shots. But the fact that he's in this movie, too, like, the cast is just...
It's on point. Whoever
and he had just directed Iron Man, and then is like in this movie getting vomited
randomly
by Paul Rudd.
It's fantastic. Slapping the bus, right, Shooter? Shooter's making a guest appearance. Shooter's the dog. If you're listening and not watching,
your phone went on blank screen, and now we don't have a timer.
Oh. I wonder how long it's been.
I don't think it's been... I think we're okay. I just noticed that.
Maybe you should put one on your computer.
I probably should.
That's probably a better idea.
We'll figure this out eventually.
First two.
We're
just barely above par on this one.
Yeah. So I think, but it is interesting the idea of finding a best... as a premise for... a movie, finding a best man, and I like that it
is different. It is a different perspective for sure.
And it does completely follow the traditional romantic comedy structures.
Yeah.
Is funny.
Yeah. I like
they have the breakup scene and then he has to
come back at the end.
Yeah.
I'm
and
trying to
give
think.
the speech.
Doesn't he come in the middle of the wedding?
Yeah, he crashes the ceremony. And then he and there's a longer cut, I think, in the deleted scenes or something, because he does take his time and slowly one step down the aisle. Because it's almost like his character thinks that's how you have to walk down the aisle. You can't just walk down the aisle.
That's not allowed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what I would do if I was at an actual wedding and I saw this occur.
I was gonna ask you if you ever had a wedding that was crashed like
I've
this.
never had any kind of like massive ceremony interruptions that I can think of.
Yeah.
That was just like, oh my god, I kind of, like, I don't wish this for any of my couples at all. But there's a small part of me that's like, oh my god, if that happened, it would make my life because it would just be like the best story.
Yeah. Especially with me with the video, I can just look at it and be like, I'm gonna be YouTube famous because I have this
content. Like, I've never had anybody like. No, I've never had anybody like during the ceremony. Like I've had. I don't think I've ever had any like real drama. Really, like I've
had before ceremony drama.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that's to be expected.
Like, and even after, like, you know, like especially with like moms, I feel like, you know, one thing that's highly under, like, people talk about bridezillas, which this doesn't have anything to do with this movie, but people talk about bridezillas, but really like momzillas, like
Yes.
mother the bridezillas. Like, those are the ones that tend to get a little, and groom moms too. Like I feel like there's the order of which people are usually stressed out. It's usually the bride, her mom, and the groom's mom. Those three people are the most stressed out, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it'll vary. Like sometimes the bride's not stressed out at all, and it's just the mom, or, you know, if anybody's stressed out, it's one of those three people.
I agree with that. Absolutely.
Generally. I feel like the groom's mom is stressed out. Well, not stressed out, but I always get an anxious vibe off of them.
Yeah.
More often.
They're, for sure, and I don't know what I was going to say. I completely lost that thought. It just went out of my head. I had something. Maybe it'll probably come back when we're recording the next episode.
Yeah.
So I'll just interrupt.
And then we'll reference it.
Oh, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, the groom's mom is always like super anxious. I don't know. I feel like it's a difficult position to be in. I feel like that's the most awkward position to be in at a wedding, is to be the mother of the groom. Because you're very much a B character.
Yes.
You know, in the whole thing. And then, like, moms tend to, like, be very protective of their son. And it's like that. I feel like they feel awkward because they're being, like, left out.
Yeah, because you don't have a job to do that day.
Yeah. There's
'cause
not
the bride's
a lot
mother,
of focus on you at all.
Yeah.
But it's still a very big, like, it's still a very emotional day for you, but the focus is not on you in the slightest. Because you don't have most of the time, you don't have a lot of responsibilities, you don't have a lot of roles, you don't have a lot to do, but it's still a very emotional day. And I feel like there's just always, like, an awkwardness between, like, a new, like, bride and the mother-in-law. Because, like, you're, like, stepping into a lot of the roles that was the mom's role for the groom. I don't know. Maybe that's my own transference. I don't know.
Unless they've been together for a long time.
I don't feel like I've had a lot of weddings where there's been a lot of tension necessarily between.
But it can't, like, because, like, I get what you're saying, because the groom's mother doesn't have
It's like
a responsibility.
It's like I don't know what to do with my hands.
She's a third wheel. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Because
like, that's
even
what it is.
because the bride's mother probably has a lot of those same feelings, but she oftentimes is like they're helping with getting the dress on and
they've paid for
jewelry
things and they've organized things and they have like they're just more involved, so they have something to do to sort of get rid of that nervous energy, I guess. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know how we got on that. But that has nothing to do with anything about this movie. There's not, like, the parents aren't even, like, really a part of the movie at all.
No.
Which I think is cool. Like, have you seen any of the deleted, like, I feel like there's some deleted scenes from I Love You Man that has Rush in, like, their backstage, or was that in the movie?
They go to the concert.
Right. I feel like there's a deleted
don't
scene
remember.
where they go back and like there's like an interaction with the band. Oh no, I should have sent you this before we did this. There's a YouTube video I think of like Paul Rudd and Jason, and they're like go and like see Rush, and it's like after like Paul, like that character's married and everything. Like they're in character again, but it's not in the movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
I'm pretty sure like they do
I
it
need
on,
to see
like,
that.
Funny or Die maybe.
Yeah. That's funny. I need
Yeah.
to look that up.
We need to look that up.
I think this movie is a good opportunity to talk about like best man etiquette though. And all the stuff and responsibilities of the best man.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Thoughts?
Well, I have been a best man before.
Have you?
Yes.
See, I've never been a bridesmaid or a maid of honor.
Interesting.
What does that mean about me? No one likes me.
It was my best friend from high school's wedding, and so it wasn't like it was a nice wedding, but it wasn't like a big huge thing. And we had the bachelor party was real casual. We just like drank beer and played board games.
And it was the timer that we had set.
So yeah, and then as far as like, you know, it was one of those like they didn't have a planner, they didn't have a thing, so a lot of my responsibilities were actually like helping set stuff up and decorate.
Yeah.
And I did insist on giving a toast, which they weren't gonna do that. I was like, no, if I'm gonna be your best man, I'm gonna roast you in front of all of your family.
Yeah.
That is gonna happen.
That's hilarious. So how did it go? Did you get some laughs?
I got a few laughs. I got some chuckles.
Yeah.
Not really laughs. But, yeah. So that was a fun thing.
I lied.
What?
I have been a bridesmaid.
Oh, God.
I forgot.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
Renee, if you are listening to this, I apologize. Yeah, it didn't feel like a wedding. I think that's why I forgot about it, because they got married on the beach in Florida, and it was literally like me, my ex-husband, my best friend, and her, you know, husband that she married, and her sister, brother,
This was like a small,
and parents.
small
like
intimate
there's literally
thing.
Like 10 of us.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like a wedding, you know.
This was a bigger deal than that, but yeah. So I've been through the whole thing of like trying on the suit and all that stuff, and there's a little bit of groomsmen drama because one of them never showed up for fitting, and so got dropped from the docket.
Ooh, now that's, yeah.
Yeah. So
Did he show up at the wedding?
No.
Oh, so he didn't even come to the wedding.
No, and it's a whole big deal that we don't need to get into here, but like it was, yeah.
Oh, awkward.
It was.
Awkward.
So what, being at weddings, do you have any like bad groomsmen, best man stories?
I had
or
a wedding.
Good examples?
I had a wedding where the bridal party in general was hammered, and then they kept.
Yep, that's what it was.
They kept giving the groom alcohol, which was not.
Yeah, don't do that.
Needed.
That was my number one tip. I had like ready to go. That's your responsibility as the best man, is not to keep giving them alcohol. It's to know when to cut them off.
Yes, exactly. So he just kept getting more, like he was nervous, I think, and emotional, and that made it worse. Like giving him more alcohol, like it was not helping. Like, so that was probably the worst. Like, and he had one groomsman that was really trying to like talk him off the ledge, so to speak. And I don't think he had any doubts about the marriage. I think he was just nervous about the whole.
Yeah. Well, for some people, that's like just being in front of that many people and all the stuff that has to go on that day can be nerve-wracking. And
I think it was just an emotional day for him.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any other circumstances where sometimes I have groomsmen that don't know when to like stop. Like they just, they're just real like hammy and like
Yeah.
They just want to have fun and, like, get to the bar. Like, I'm trying to, like, take photos and, like, I'm like, and so they just keep kind of cutting up and stuff. And I'm like, I need y'all to listen to me. Like, they want to be
the class clown.
Yes, yeah. They want to be the class clown, and they just won't. And, like, I'm all about laughing. I am all about having a good time. I'm all about us, like, cutting up together and joking. And, like, I'm all about that. But...
while also being productive.
Yes, like, we have to sort of... we can't just, like, hang out for 3 hours. Like, we kind of have...
this is going to take twice as long if you don't let me do what I need to do.
Yes.
And we can laugh while I'm doing what I need to do, but I also... need to do that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. So I've had a few times where the grooms. So it really.
I've had a wedding where.
Oh, and like not forgetting their socks. You know.
That kind of stuff.
Or like they're not trying on their suit right, and then it doesn't fit, or like having some sort. It's always some sort of like wardrobe disaster. You know. Anyway.
I've had groomsmen that were like drunk and just kept. Heckling is not the right word, but they're like during the vows.
Oh.
Just keep like, yeah, man, woo! Just during the vows.
Like, no,
I was like,
dude.
I can't. Okay, that's just in there now. I
That's
can't cut around that.
That's
There's nothing he's just there, and it was like patting the groom on the back and stuff.
This is why you limit the alcohol before the. I cannot stress that enough. Limit alcohol for bridal party and the couple. Like, I say 2 drinks max.
Yeah.
2 drink maximum before the ceremony.
Know your limits.
Yes.
Because like I have had.
I mean, if you can drink 6 beers and be fine.
Or space them out at least. But like, because I've had weddings where it's like, you know, and the like while I'm in there shooting like groom getting ready stuff, putting on ties and stuff, they'll offer me a beer and I'm like, okay, sure. Like, it's a cool casual vibe and I'll do that. And then they're all drinking and they're fine. And they, you know, and then the ceremony goes off fine and everyone's fine. And then sometimes it is the opposite.
Then sometimes there's people puking in the bathroom. I watched a
to me, it's like, wait till the reception. That's when it's a party.
Go for it. Go for it. Go all out after I have taken all the photos. But before then, let's please not be hammered. I had a wedding that I don't even know if I should talk about this because she was, like she got out. Okay, so we go from the getting ready location to the wedding, and her and her bridesmaids get out of the car, and a billow of smoke comes out. Like, in, like, her wedding dress, and...
was it cigarette smoke?
Oh, no,
okay.
It was not.
I didn't want to assume, but okay.
That was an interesting day, to say the least.
Well, then.
Yeah. There was a lot more to that, but I'm afraid if I say any more, they'll know who they are.
Okay.
If they listen to this, so...
Yeah, I had... I was going to say, I guess a big responsibility in my mind for the best man is like the toast or the speech or whatever. Because rarely are they good in my experience. And if they were, that would be helpful, and I would, to put in the video and to have in that way. So oftentimes, like, if they're good speeches, like I'll cut like bits and pieces out and marry them with the bridesmaid speech and like make a nice thing for the montage to be put over. But if they're just sort of, you know, fumbling and mumbling and they don't know, like I still have that and I filmed it and I know the couple would like it, so sometimes I'll just send that to them as a separate thing.
Yeah.
But I can't. It's not as good in the video. It's not. It doesn't tell
flow.
Doesn't make it a heartwarming story.
People in general are not like good public speakers. But that's something you want to pick whoever's closest to you as your best man. Like, don't pick your best man because you want somebody that gives a good speech.
No, I'm just saying, but once you are a best man, I think, like, because a lot of guys especially, like, the maid of honor will be prepared, and then guys just want to get up there and speak off the cuff. And then once they're up there, nothing comes out.
Which makes me think about Wedding Crashers,
Yes.
which would be a totally another episode.
Yes, we need to get that one on the docket.
Yeah, that whole scene where she talks about the speech and speaking from the heart or whatever. Anyway, yeah, you should have something prepared because unless you're a comedian or a comedy writer, you probably aren't going to be able to come up with something.
At least like bullet points.
Yeah. So Josh's brother, had we had a wedding, would have been his best man, I'm sure. And Lee's speech at our reception I thought was hysterical. Mostly because he just cusses a lot in it. That makes me laugh. But Lee's funny. I think he's hilarious. So, yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing as far as like how to be a good best man or a good groomsman is just show up on time where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there.
Yes.
Do what's asked of you.
Yeah.
Do it well. And just like, be a good friend. Like, just don't be a dick. Like, that's just like general rule in life. But just be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. Do what people ask you to do. And be supportive. And, prepare a speech. That's not that hard. It's really all you need to do.
Yeah, and be prepared to help decorate because that's what I was doing.
Most of the time, especially budget weddings.
We were like,
bridal party gets roped into that kind of thing.
Yeah, our friend Perry, because I'm afraid of heights, he was like going up and down this ladder, hanging paper lanterns like all night.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you do.
And stuff like that. Yeah. So, I don't know that I have any more notes. Do you have anything else about the movie or wedding stuff?
I don't think so.
All right. So we want to rate the movie on a scale of 1 to 10 awesome real estate billboards.
1 to 10 awesome. I mean, this is one of my favorite movies. Like
I think it's a 10.
10 out of 10.
Objectively, I'm not sure if it's actually that good of a movie, but I don't care. It makes me that happy. It's a 10.
Like, it's one of those things that I'll watch it many times. Like, yes. I'll never get tired of watching that movie.
Absolutely.
So, yes, 10 out of 10.
Okay.
I don't know when, we're not ever, I guess maybe when we get, maybe 10 podcasts in and we've watched all of our favorite movies, then maybe it'll stop, blah, 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 blah. 10 out, it won't be 10 out of 10 anymore.
It won't be, yeah. Okay, I guess we need to, and before we close, we need plugs and stuff. So, you can email the podcast at herecomestothepodcast@gmail.com if you have any thoughts or questions or anything. We're also on YouTube, so if you're just listening and want to watch us, we are filming these things. So come check us out. And all my stuff is at longviewproductions.net, at longviewpro on Instagram. And
and leave us. I think this is something we should start doing. I think we should start reading reviews.
Yes.
On.
Yes. So if you leave us a review, we'll
give you a shout out.
Yes, you'll get a shout out.
We'll read your review. So leave us a review because we really appreciate it if you subscribe and review the podcast.
And if you have any wedding questions, movie questions, we'll be happy to answer them as well. So email us those things too.
Yes, absolutely. If you have any requests.
Yes.
For
or ideas for different segments we could do, stuff like that.
110%. And you can find me at sarahlarayphotography.com and Sarah Larray Photo on Instagram. And, yeah.
All right.
And I play Splatoon on the Nintendo Switch, and you can also find my handle Pork Chop.
There you go.
I was just thinking of all the things that I have.
Okay, and next episode we're going to be talking about Bridesmaids.
Yeah!
So we're talking about Best Man a lot this episode, so next week, or 2 weeks from now, it'll be Bridesmaids and Maids of Honor stuff. So,
Bridesmaids, yes.
We'll see you there or see you at another time.
I'll see you then or I'll see you on another time.
Yay!
Yay!
All right, I think we should make that our permanent closing line.
Yes! I think we should.